Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Two Dads, One Car, where we talk about modern fatherhood. My friends, this is going to be a very special episode because I'm currently on the campus of the University of British Columbia, aka UBC. This is where I did my undergrad degree. This is where I graduated from law school. I'm currently faculty here as an adjunct professor. But beyond that, I'm bringing into the car very shortly the current president and vice chancellor of the university. He's someone I met not too long ago, and I've been really impressed by the way he conducts himself, the way he speaks from the heart, his compassion. This is going to be a fun episode. He's also the father of a daughter who's in her 20s, so a father who's gone through the journey, and we're going to have a fun conversation. So with that, hang tight. I'm going to be picking him up in about 4 minutes, and we'll chat soon. Cheers. Well, let's jump in. Benoit, walk me through your fatherhood journey, number of kids, rough ages, and we'll get the show started from there, actually.
All right. I'm thrilled to have a chance to talk about that, to talk about being a dad. It's been such an important part of my life. Mm-hmm. I have the one daughter. She's turning 22. I'm an old guy. She's turning 22 this summer. In my mind, she's about 4 years old, but she's turning 22 this summer. I never thought I would have kids, Stephen.
Yeah.
I never thought I would have kids. I don't come from a good place. I come from a dysfunctional family. I think that's a kind word. It was really an unsafe home environment. My dad, he was battling his own demons. He was drinking too. So our home life wasn't fun. I always was afraid that I had a big part of my father in me, so I didn't think I should be a dad. I thought that would be a terrible idea to be a dad. But one thing leading to another, you don't plan those things. At 31, because she was a little bit late, a little girl came into my life, 2003, and it's defined the rest of my life. It's the main role that I've played has been as a father. Everything else that I've done, including my work, including my sobriety, including becoming the person I am today. It's all been a result and a consequence of fatherhood. So I'll always be grateful for that gift that I was given. It's funny, you think I should never be a father. It's going to be the biggest disaster. It's going to be the worst thing in my life. Turns out it's the best thing in your life. So you can never know. You can never know.
Oh, I can't wait to jump into this conversation. There's already so many threads I could kind of think about as we go through. As we kind of dive in, what would you say is an unspoken truth about parenting or about fatherhood? Something that's not as widely discussed or as known or shared, whatever. Even if you have a minute, that's fine too. But what's an unspoken aspect of fatherhood?
There's two things that comes to mind about that. First, when you have your kid the way I did at 31, you think you're an adult.
Yes.
You're not really, from the perspective of a 50-something-year-old, you look at yourself at 30 and you go, oh my God, I was so young and I knew so little. And then how quick it goes. These two things relate to our perception of time that changes with age. When my daughter was 1 or 2, I thought, this is now my whole life. I'm gonna take care of this little kid my whole life. Everything I knew before is gone. Now this is who I am. I'm a dad, and now I'm 52, and it's essentially over, right? My daughter's 22. She's on her own. She's going to grad school at McGill.
Wow.
And that part of my life of being a dad 24/7 went by so quickly. So looking back. I thought, I'm a grown-up who's going to do this my whole life, and now I look back on it and says I was a kid, and it was very transient.
I mean,
isn't that funny?
It is, actually.
But more importantly, to everyone who's considering having a baby or a kid, and it transforms you as a person.
Yes.
It transforms you as a person, but you got to lean into it. You can't. If you resist it and you attempt to remain who you've always been, it's going to be limiting to yourself. It's going to be limiting to your relationship with your child. But if you lean into it and you let the transformation unfold, it's going to be the biggest blessing that you'll ever have.
Oh, let's lean into this. Talking about leaning in, right? You've shared in past interviews and publicly about your own journey, right? Your own journey through depression, your own journey through substance abuse, and you mentioned having a daughter was that pivotal moment. What was going on through your mind at that point? And like, walk me through that a little bit.
Yeah. Well, when they put the little baby on you, right? Like I was there for the birth, so they put the little baby, who weighs like 7 pounds. they put it on you, and then it dawns on you that you gotta take care. You gotta take care of a little baby. So the first thing that flashed through my mind is, oh my God, I gotta do better. I have to be a better person. I have to be better. I have to be better than my own parents. I have to improve myself. I have to sort myself out.
Yeah.
If I'm not worth sorting myself out, because that's what you think when you're using substance in particular, you don't think you deserve care. You don't think you deserve help. You don't think you deserve to be sorted out. But the little baby deserves a dad that's sorted out, right?
Yeah.
So that's the first thing that came through my mind is I have to do better. I have to stop being a bum, and I have to find a way to give this little baby the love and care and constancy and security that this little baby needs, and that set me on a path. You know, the joke that I make is within a year of our birth, I'd bought my first house, my first car, and I got my first job, right? Like I went from bum to kind of suburban dad within like
Minivan?
6. It was actually a 1999 Toyota Corolla.
Nice.
And a little bungalow and a job teaching at a little liberal arts college, and we settled there for 10 years, and we raised our daughter in this very safe, very semi-rural, I would say, an environment with lots of space, lots of safety, a little school just down the road. And there's a very funny scene in Goodfellas, you know, the Scorsese movie with Liotta.
Okay, yes.
So Liotta's a criminal. He's a mobster. He's a mafia guy, and the whole film you see him using substances, being with hookers.
Yeah.
He's killing people.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the movie, he's on the witness relocation program, and he opens the door of his bungalow, and he's in his bathrobe, and he picks up the newspaper, and he's a suburban guy. I felt exactly like that. That first year in the bungalow, after 15 years of doing Lord knows what, at all hours of the night, suddenly you're a dad, and you're in your bungalow, and you're picking up your newspaper, and you're trying to raise your baby.
Wow. There's so many things that I think about, right? Because that is the spark of what I argue, even like your own personal growth journey, your own spiritual journey, right? It kind of opens your eyes to, whoa, like, okay, I could just get by and just do what I'm doing, but you said, instead of resisting it, let's lean into it, right? And so, you mentioned that path. Like, was it just books you've been reading, mentors, people you just reached out for help? Like, what was that?
Well,
that journey like?
At first, it was just a strength of will and love for my baby. I remember just telling myself, just try to be a normal guy.
Yeah.
What do normal guys do? They watch the hockey game.
Yes.
Okay, watch the hockey game. They teach their courses. Teaching was big. Education saved me the whole time through. I was able to study the whole time through, even through severe depression, even through substance use. I was able to study the whole time through. And then I got a job teaching. I realized I was good. I was a good teacher. Students liked my class. So that gives you a kind of sense of purpose. You feel better about yourself. You go, oh, I'm actually not useless. People enjoy these lectures, so that's good. How about I try to eat some vegetables?
Yeah.
My nutrition across my teens and 20 was absolutely atrocious. So
yeah, mine too.
let's try to eat some vegetables. Let's cut down on drugs and alcohol as much as I can. Not completely. That came only later. I'm 11 years sober now, but the start of moderating that started with my little baby, and when she was about 4 or 5 years old, suddenly, very, very suddenly, and without my expecting it, my depression lifted. Wow. I figure I was under some form of depression for about 20 years, right. starting in my teens, right. all the way through my 20s into my 30s. But when I was about 34, 35 years old, I just saw the kind of veil of depression, the thing that makes you see life in black and white and everything seem heavy. It just lifted. It just lifted as a direct consequence of trying to do better as a parent, as a father. And from that moment on, my life has been completely different. I got back into shape. I changed the way that I eat. I ran the Montreal Marathon in
Love it.
2007. That was amazing. I started to sing in a choir. I discovered the creative side,
Yeah.
and I started to take on leadership roles, which led me to today. All as a consequence of being a dad, of becoming a dad.
Wow, there's like so much light and inspiration in this, right? And
Yeah, there is.
you know, as I mentioned in the introduction, Benoit is the president of the University of British Columbia. I think at last look, 70,000 plus students across 2 campuses, 30,000 faculty. Like I'm an adjunct prof, one of many thousands, and also a part-time basis. But you and I were part of the graduation ceremony last month, and
Yeah.
I think you did probably
Yeah.
like 15, 20 plus that period. But I was
34 ceremonies.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. There's 16,000 students a year that graduate from UBC.
Truly remarkable, and we're just doing a round around campus here. But I think what really drew me to you, Benoit, is actually the way you speak, and I think there's this light that I'm sensing in the way you communicate.
Oh, you're very kind. You're very kind.
It is where it's less like. I remember my university journey, you know, you have the set remarks, you have the teleprompter, you have like, here are the 3 bullets I was told to say and whatnot. But I think you speak from the soul, and I think it's part of that journey that you've been on, right? It resonates.
Look, Stephen, when you look at the students, right, you're on stage and you look at the students, they're all decked out in their caps and gowns, 300 or 400 at a time, and you know each and every one of them's had a journey. Nobody's had a smooth ride. Everybody's dealing with stuff, whether it's family stuff, relationship stuff, money stuff. Some people have lived through trauma in their countries, like real war and violence. Yeah. Everybody's had a journey. Some people are dealing with mental health, substance use, physical health issues too. Some people are in abusive situations, but they persevered. They came through the power of education. They're getting a UBC degree on their way to a successful and self-determined life. So that's inspiring, right? So if you can tap into this, into the journey of these people, then the words just come naturally. Then you want to give. Then it's an act of giving.
Yeah.
Say what can I say to you that will be helpful to you? And for me the key is look, a degree is not the end, it's the beginning.
Yes.
It's only the key that unlocks the door to a successful and self-determined life. Don't stop learning.
Yes.
Just start learning.
Yeah.
Start learning in a way. Don't stop growing. Start growing.
Wow.
And it just unfolds in this way. And it's a privilege to be able to meet like literally 16,000 people that are going out into the world. My phrase is smarter than I was,
yes,
and hopefully wiser,
yes,
as a generation than we were. It can seem sometimes difficult to have hope in the future.
Yes.
Because we live in a unsettling time, maybe.
Yes.
But time is not linear, and progress is not linear. It's neither a great race up and to the right to utopia,
yes,
nor is it the forever decline to doom. It's more waves of up and down, and we're in a bit of a down. But I have no doubt that the generation that's coming are gonna rebuild differently, and that there's going to be a renewal of this society, of this civilization.
And you must have even sensed that, like, you know, your daughter is like just graduated not too long ago, right? And like 22, 23,
22,
you mentioned, right?
Yep.
And you could probably sense like she's going through this path as well too. If I can call back to the early years, you know, as some of our listeners may have kids who are 4 or 5 in the toddler stage, right? And you mentioned not wanting to perpetuate, you know, your own upbringing.
Yep.
What was that tension like? Were those early periods like? Were you hyper intentional about the way you approach, the way you talk to her? Just walk me through.
Yep.
I know it's a callback, but I think this is, you know, you were very intentional in your path, right? You're intentional about, like, shaping that new journey. Like, what was that like in the early years?
The thing that I'll always be the proudest of that I've accomplished in my life is that my daughter was raised in a safe and loving home.
Yeah.
I'll never be prouder of whatever happens. I'll never be prouder of anything else, because that's how you build a better world. You raise children with what they need to thrive, to succeed, to be happy, to radiate compassion and love, right? And that wasn't obvious to me because I didn't have a good model for that, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah.
You know, if your parents were sane and kind and loving, it's easy.
Right.
You've seen it. It's in you to be a kind and loving parent. I didn't have that, so I had to figure it out. I'm lucky in a way. I studied psychology that gave me some insights about human thought and human behavior, and about how children acquire the skills that they need to succeed. You know, like the old guys like Eric Erickson or Jean Piaget, they figured all of this out.
Yes.
Right? Like what do children need? They need to trust you first and foremost.
Right.
So you say, okay, how can I make sure that my kid trusts me? Well, be there, be present, take care, be consistent. Don't come home drunk. You know, model what you want to see in your kid. So I never raised my voice. 20 years, like in my house, people screamed every day.
Yeah.
I never raised my voice. I joke with my daughter. I'll say, you'll jump about 10 feet in the air the first time I raise my voice to you. You know, because you've never heard that. You'll know I'm serious, but I haven't had to. It's been fantastic to be able to shape with her a different kind of relationship, and I learned from her as much as she learned from me. How do we respect one another? How do we talk things through? How do we support one another? It's a great blessing, and over time it got easier. It got easier because a transformation unfolded inside me. Right. You know, at first you fake it.
Yeah, that's right.
Can I say that?
Of course, absolutely. We're all figuring this out.
At first you fake it. You say, I'm just going to behave as if I was a good parent.
Yes.
What would a good parent do? What would a good dad do? If I was someone who knew what I was doing, what would I do?
Right.
If I was fully loving as a human being, what would I do? But then the transformation unfolds inside you, and you realize, oh my God, I'm no longer faking it. It's become who I am.
There's something deep about this, where often in some of the discussions in mainstream and beyond, before becoming a dad, you're like, oh, you know, once you become a father, you kind of, you know, lose the career side of things, you lose your ambition. Like it seems like it's either or, right? But I find that in the story and the journey that you're talking about, like you yourself being a father and your journey through your daughters has really opened your heart, opened your compassion, opened up the way you lead with empathy, and has actually been an accelerant to
100%
your career and where you are.
Yeah, and I can't speak for people who had a great career and great ambition and a great path before their children comes. You know, I can't. That wasn't my case. I had no direction, no ambition, no real career path, nothing. And when my daughter came, changes unfolded inside me that allowed a different life to occur. But it's almost mystical. It's not something that I planned.
Yeah.
It's not something that I engineered. It's not even something that I really desired. It's just something that unfolded because everything that you project out is a reflection of what's inside you.
Yes.
Right? Does that make sense to you?
Absolutely. Absolutely makes sense.
This is bordering on the spiritual.
I love it.
But this is how we're wrongly taught. We're wrongly taught. Change the world and it will make you happy. But the reality is change how you are inside yourself and it will change the world. It will change your life. So at least that's been my experience. And the catalyst for that has been my daughter.
That's so beautifully said. And one of the books you did, I heard you recommend, is Zen and the Art of Motorcycle. So I've downloaded the Kindle.
Did you read it?
I put it on hold on the VPL. I got the Kindle version. I'm gonna take a read at it this weekend. It's Father's Day weekend.
Wow, that's funny that you know that.
So I think there's a lot of interwovenness to it because I think there's a bit of a spiritual journey to this.
Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance, I read in every decade of my life. I read it for the first time in my 20s. I didn't understand it.
Yeah.
I thought it was about motorcycles. So I bought a motorcycle. You know, I learned to drive a motorcycle, and I thought that was the story. And then I reread it in my 30s and in my 40s, and then again recently. And every time I get to go a little bit deeper into it.
Yeah.
It really goes deep into the heart of what it means to be a quality person and to lead a quality life.
Wow.
It is a spiritual journey. Like the motorcycle ride is a metaphor for the spiritual journey.
It is.
And the funny thing about the spiritual journey is until you're on it, you have no idea what people are talking about.
That's true.
It just like until it opens up inside you, you think it's all nonsense. I used to think it's all nonsense.
Yep.
People would talk about the spirit, the soul, God, meditation. I would go, this is all mumbo jumbo. It's all nonsense. But once it opens up inside you, and I'll tell you what the key to that is. When it opens up inside you, it all makes complete and perfect sense.
Yes.
And religious texts that used to infuriate me, like Psalm 23, "The Lord is my shepherd," for example, now are some of my favorite texts, and I go back to them. We're under the delusion, Stephen, that these thoughts that are in our heads, they are who we are.
Yes, that's right.
But in reality, this is just stuff that the brain self-generates based on our past and our conditioning. My brain used to tell me, "You're worthless. You'll never amount to anything." These are not thoughts. This is conditioning that came from where I was raised and what I was taught as a child.
Yeah.
So if you're able to build a little bit of distance between you and your thoughts and to just look at them objectively, you'll realize they're mostly nonsense.
Wow.
And they're not things that you really think. They're things that have been put into you. And if you put a little bit more distance, you'll open up a space inside you, a spaciousness, where a different form of being can emerge, a much more compassionate, a much more loving, and a much less isolated and a much more connected self.
Yes.
And from that form of being will emerge a completely different way of looking at the world and a completely different life.
I'm like grinning left and right now. For those who are like watching this on video, there is so much openness, so much compassion, so much love, so much all this that we're all. And I absolutely agree. Like when similarly, I was like, what is this stuff that people are talking about, right? And my dad was like, just like read these books. I'm like, oh, okay.
Your dad understood.
Yeah, and it wasn't until his passing that I'm like, I should actually start reading this stuff. Right?
Yeah.
I was like,
what did he like?
This is what he was talking about the whole time.
Yeah.
Right?
It's good for your dad.
It's pretty fascinating. If I can pivot a little bit, because we talked about education, right? And we're on campus now. You know, you've had your daughter go through the elementary school, high school, college. There's some headwinds, right, in the world, in the education space, where technology use, things like that. How do we ensure that when we talk about our children, you know, we spend all this time in the early years for love and compassion. There's also, you know, there's the dark side of technology, right?
Yes.
With, cyberbullying, use of phones in schools, etc. How does that come across to you? Like as you're in your journey, like what does that look like?
Yeah, we were intentional in providing our daughter with an old school childhood. That wasn't much different from my own childhood. She, in terms of the global environment, she didn't have a cell phone until she was 18, and that was intentional. She wasn't on social media. She still is not really on social media. And for the grace of God, she's never gotten to substances and some of the other dangers of teenage years. So I feel she's avoided some of the most dire threats that want to steal your childhood and steal your soul. You know, like this is what these machines are. They're soul stealers in a way. Your attention is key. Whatever you give your attention to, this is who you will become. And if you give your attention to machines and to social media sites that are specifically designed to addict you, to content that is often reprehensible, and to the medium itself, right? This is made to addict you with reward systems like likes and hearts and all that kind of stuff. These are all dopamine hit machines. Well, then the full person that you are dissolves, and you're an addict. You're a conditioned stimulus response machine in symbiosis with these machines, and a big part of the human soul is lost in that. So I'm very conscious of the damage that that this technology has done to the generation that is now just graduating. I think they've hit it worse.
That's right.
I think the little kids now, their parents are aware of the dangers, and I'm hoping that governments, institutions, and especially parents will take steps to protect their children. Like my dad started to smoke when he was 11 because people thought, smoking, you know.
That's right.
That's
the norm.
That's fine. That's what people do. You smoke. It's normal life. You smoke. Men smoke. Children smoke. That's okay. He suffered from that his whole life. He was never able to stop to smoke. It brought him into other substances and so on and so forth. When I think of little children that had social media from the times they're 8, it will be very, very difficult for them to fully reclaim their humanity. And I hope we're going to do a better job at protecting our children going forward.
Yeah, this is a very hot topic amongst my parents group, right? Because we are like, whoa, like this is top of mind. It's actually one of the most common topics. Like, how are we managing technology? I know right now from K to 7, you can't bring phones in schools, but you still have the high school years from 8 to 12.
Yeah.
And that is even more, where cyberbullying is even more prevalent. Right?
Yeah. 100%.
And it probably carries through, right, beyond. So it's a fascinating world, but
it's an addiction, Stephen, and the very nature of addiction is that it brings you close to happiness and then fails to deliver.
Yeah.
Right. That's what alcohol does. You drink alcohol. I remember drinking alcohol for the first time. I'd never been so happy.
Yes.
Because
right.
all the pain goes away, all the anxiety goes away, the depression lifts, and you go, oh my God, these are great people. I'm a great person. So then when the effects of that wanes, ebbs and disappears, then you want more, and then you need more and more to get back into that state. These social networks do the same thing. You feel momentarily loved and connected because you get likes and you get hearts, and then you go back to the real world and you feel disconnected and you crave to get back into it, and then that builds this false sense of happiness that is never fully satisfying and that has its own vicious circle built right into it.
Wow. I mean,
so you got to come back to what is real.
That's right.
And there's not that many things that is real. Nature's real.
Yes.
Human connection's real, and connection to spirit is real. All the rest, you can't really depend on.
That's a bit of illusion too, right? It's so interesting how, we talk about technology. I mean, there's pros, cons, right? But like it goes back to like what is the truth and kind of where do we use that to kind of guide us in our journey. And I think what's remarkable, even having you in the car today and talking about this, is like you are so upfront and just very compassionate and very authentic and really who you are. Like, guys, like who I'm talking to now is who I saw on stage and like on one-on-one conversations. Like this is like, and having you lead university like this, right, to bring us into the forefront, it's remarkable.
Well, thank you, Stephen. I can only say what I think, right?
Yeah.
That's I'm able to think what I think because all the thoughts that I used to think were me, I've unmasked as false thoughts, as conditioning, as programming that came from my childhood, from society, from the lies that we're often fed, right? If you were to
Two last questions. First question is that if you were to speak, to a parent who's listening to this, they're having a rough time right now, right? They, maybe they are turning to more to substances to kind of numb the pain.
The parents?
Right?
Oh my God.
What would you say, or even if you're speaking to your younger self, like as like a...
Yeah. Well, I'm 11 years sober, right? So that's very easy to say from the perspective of 11 years sober. Just stop. Just stop. It's not good for you. It's very destructive. But the reality is, from the perspective of the addict, the usage is not a problem. It's an attempted solution.
That's right.
You're not using because you want to destroy yourself in your life. Your choice is between possibly suicide and death, and using. So of course you're using. You're self-medicating. You're keeping yourself in the game. So I would say to all the people who are using, I used to be so ashamed of using and of the young guy that used, but now I'm proud of that young guy because he kept alive. He did what he had to do, and found a way to healing, and now I'm so thrilled to not have to do this anymore. But at the same time realize that it's not a solution.
Yeah.
It's not a long-term solution. So you may have to do it for now, but start thinking about what else could I do? How else could I leave? Could I lead my life? And for me, finding role models has been important. Like if you don't know how to have a sane, happy, and successful life, just find people who do, and fake your way through doing what they're doing. You know, for me, it was older colleagues. They went for runs
Yeah.
at noon.
Yeah.
So I asked them to come out with them.
Yeah.
And they took me out on a 5K. I almost died. And then I went again the next day and the next day and developed that habit and dropped some other habits. And first thing I knew, I was running the Montreal Marathon. And that's been transformative. Same thing with the arts, singing in a choir. I sang in a choir because one of my friends was the choir director, and he let me sing, and that opened up something inside me. And the funniest thing is I took on these leadership roles because some of the people I admired took on leadership roles, and then they encouraged me to do that, and that's been transformative. So, you don't have to find all the answers yourself. Just look around. The answers are all over the place. If you know where to look, there's always people that you can find inspiration from, and the phrase, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. It's 100% true. If you look around and you go, oh, my friends, they have no idea what they're doing. Well, chances are that's your case as well, right? If you go around and you say, my friends, they're amazing human beings, chances are this is who you are or who you will become. That's simple as that.
This is so inspiring. And I love how you mentioned singing. This is actually inspired by also Steve Corbin. Like they do like karaoke in the car. Next, we'll bring the mics next time.
Yeah,
we'll
to sing.
We'll do some Adele next time.
Happy
Maybe
to
some
sing.
like
You got it.
Some Ed Sheeran. I have to turn back actually. Just kidding. If I could end on this, in your journey, now as like a leader of an institution like this, you have some big goals, big aspirations, big aspects of it. What is something that you're working on that us as a community can support you on, or there's something that we want to touch upon more in our conversation today?
Oh, we're coming towards the end already, eh? It's gone really fast, and it's been a smooth ride. You're a great driver. This is a great car, I should say that. I'm so privileged to be entrusted with leading a great place like UBC. In my view, is the best and most exciting university in the world. I think higher education need to rebalance itself, and I'm starting to think about how to bring the community along to this thinking. The students want it.
Yeah.
And let me put it simply. The university is a temple of the mind. Yeah. We're dedicated to knowledge and reason and logic, and these are great things. These are great and important things, but that's not the whole of the human experience. A big part of what it means to be human is related to how we feel, our emotions, how we are, how we show up in the world, how we connect with others. And universities for the past, say, 300 years have had less to say about that. So we're no longer committed to the antiquity ideal of attending to the whole person, and I think we need to return to that. Not just the thinking and the doing, but also the feeling and the being. So how do we do that? We do some around the edges. Of course, there's athletics and recreation. The arts are present on campus. But within the curriculum, there's very little. One example that I give is I took psychology for 8 or 9 years, if you count grad school. But nobody ever taught me to meditate, which is maybe the most important practice that you can do for your own mental health.
Yes.
So we learned a lot of theory, but I wasn't ever provided with some of the basic tools that would have made me a saner human being and a more effective psychologist. Isn't that funny? So you can imagine what the mathematician or perhaps somebody that studies engineering or other fields, what they are provided with in terms of their own personal growth. So I think we need to include some of that into the curriculum, and I think that this is an idea that the students would get behind 100%.
Yes, and this will in turn lead many other institutions as well, right? This is a world-class institution.
That's the idea.
I'm a proud graduate, both undergrad and also law school, and I'm still part of it as faculty, right? Doing my small part, and I'm just gonna take your words to heart as we kind of like build curriculums and educate in this next generation. Last question, what is, fatherhood probably looks different than in my stage with a 4-year-old, but what is something that you're excited about in this next chapter of fatherhood, if I may ask that?
That's a great question. How old are your kids?
4. I have one who's turning 4 in September.
So what you have forward, what you can look forward to, Stephen, is your relationship evolving from a direction of care, where everything you do is mostly towards that person, to something much more bi-directional, and it morphs towards a friendship. At least in my case, it's morphed towards a friendship. To have shared interests with your child as adults in music, in film, in sports. To be able to discuss some of the key issues that we're facing as a society with your child. We play tennis together this summer.
Love it.
So it's fantastic, and that's just going to deepen as she continues to grow. Well, she's still very young, but in 10 years she'll be 32, then she'll be 42.
Yes.
And I want to keep that relationship just as close as ever. And then there's always the chance that grandchildren will come, which has to be the biggest blessing that can ever happen to you, to see your children have children and live through that.
We'll bring you on the car when that happens.
You
as
got
well,
it.
too.
You got it. You got it.
This has been amazing, Benoit. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us on 2 Dads, 1 Car. Had a nice tour around campus. Went through so many incredibly deep topics. We'll do a debrief after this, but I appreciate you, and I'm so glad we connected, and thanks for being here.
It's my pleasure.
Love
it was a great ride.
Thanks you so
Stephen.
much.
That was great.
Yes. All right, that's a wrap. That was such a fascinating conversation with Benoit. Dr. Benoit-Antoine, the president of the University of British Columbia and vice chancellor. There were so many takeaways from the conversation. Really, I just loved hearing his story about how having a daughter was his awakening moment. It was the path to open himself to try a new path. And we talked about in the beginning about there's a potential to resist this movement, resist this change. But I think if anything, having children really sparks this thought of like, how do we become better as humans? How do we become better as fathers? How do we become better as individuals in this world? And so I'm inspired to really lean into this some more. And thank you all for being part of this journey of 2 Dads, 1 Car. I think there is, having someone like Benoit in the car who's absolutely such an inspiration, a leader in the community and beyond, and also be such an incredible, great dad, is such a role model for myself and for many of us. And so with that, I want to thank you all for listening. Thank you as well to Trixie for supporting on the social media marketing side. Thank you so much to Baron, as always, for mastering the editing and producing behind the scenes, and to everybody here for listening. So follow us on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, on YouTube. Share this episode if you feel inspired. I'd love to hear your comments and thoughts, and we'll chat again next time. Take care, everybody. Cheers. Bye.